was. But I think regarding balance, it's interesting to me to look at, and certainly I'm most aware of tennis players, but even others. What I've talked to people, even younger people, about is how important it is to get the idea of fitness and health, sort of what I would call in your blood. If it is just a means to an end, one thing that always strikes me is, because I remember Ivan Lendl so well, because we played each other so many times, and he was as committed, as fit, as driven as almost any athlete that I can think of. And now, when I watch the Murray matches and they flash to him on the side, Ivan has become enormous. You know, he's really become a huge guy. And really, to him, fitness and health were really a pathway to becoming a great tennis player. But it doesn't seem like it ever became really part of his life and in his blood. Yep. And I think that it's so important to realize that even if you're an athlete and you play very seriously for 10 or 15 years, that's a short portion, you know, of the total years of your life, and how essential it is to really develop a healthy lifestyle where there is exercise in your life, there's regularity, there's balance. But I think that one of the things that happens in athletics is that you're rewarded for, in effect, imbalance sometimes if you screen everything else out. So part of it to me was, I think I had the benefit because I stayed on in tennis and coaching was part of it, and people still want to see, you know, how I play or play points and things. I've had an incentive to stay fit and to stay healthier. But I think it's hugely important for everyone of you know, whether it's the Wall Street person or otherwise, that if you're out of balance and you become completely obsessed with something, you can become very good at that, but it can have devastating health consequences that really make it very difficult to enjoy the rest of life if there isn't that regularity. And I think the habit of lack of exercise or poor eating becomes ingrained quickly. But once the habit of eating well and exercising becomes part of your life, you get hooked on that also. Yeah. And it's the kind of thing where if that really does become part of your life, you probably get pretty cranky, as I do. If I just had a bit of a cold, and I had about 10 days where I really was pretty weak, and it was a pretty bad cold. But you know, for me, it feels strange where if inactivity and poor health become the norm, unfortunately, that becomes your baseline.
Wonderful comments, Gene. I haven't had a groin issue or a psoas issue for a long time, so that's part of the hip flexor area. And there's you know, the major joints and nerves. There's a lot of activity there. And I remember that's like, if I've had one weak area, it'd be the right psoas. So I've done a lot of work to make sure I take care of that with all the things that I learned about diet and fitness and chiropractic and physical therapy and functional training. So years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I was in my chiropractor's office, and he had had a 30-some-year career by this time. He was a very gifted gentleman and a good golfer, a good athlete. And I said, does stomach distress, so an area of the stomach where you know, it's connected to nerves that are connected to the muscle that's holding us together and allowing us to be athletes or movers of our body, does that distress in one area seep over into the other area? Does visceral go to muscular? And he said, oh, of course it does. And irritation is transferred there. And it also goes to your neurology, and it makes you think differently. So then you go to stress. So everything's connected. And then he said, what I've been telling people for years is what my teachers told me, is that the ankle bone's connected to the shin bone's connected to the knee bone. And it's as simple as that, but it's everywhere in your nervous system.